You're watching Basement Politics with my dad. You're watching Basement Politics with my dad plays Afro.
Good evening, folks. I'm Freddie Vasquez. This is Basement Politics Unfiltered. Happy Wednesday. Feel like I'm in LA right now, actually. Felt like that all day as wildfires burn in Canada. The city of Yonkers, the state of New York, turns orange. It's very LA-ish. In fact, the people on the West Coast are saying we can give you guys in New York some advice. Wear your mask. Good evening, folks. I'm Freddie Vasquez. This is Basement Politics tonight. LoHud Lenny. Once again, Lenny Spano is in the news. Are you used to it by now, Lenny? So I've given you the nickname LoHud Lenny. LoHud Lenny Spano. He's back in the news. But first, I wanted, if you don't already know, school is closed tomorrow. So parents, kids will not be attending no school due to the conditions that they expect tomorrow. And this could very well much last, last a week. That's a lot of what the West Coast deals with. Imagine this all week long, right? And that's possible. So tomorrow there's no school. Stay indoors if you can. It sucks, yeah. And also, real quick before I talk about that, I wanted to mention this, and I forgot to at the Puerto Rican Day Parade. You know what? I thought this was messed up. They put the Republicans. It was Jose Diaz. It was Debbie. Is it Koziak? I think I said Koziak. And some others from the Republican Party. They had a banner, and they were placed behind the Modelo float. And I think that might have been the ShopRite float. I don't know. One of the floats where, there was a few people just walking with a banner. Meanwhile, Anthony Moranti, a Republican, and James Nolan walked up at the front. Why you guys leave your party behind like that? I mean, so, if you're paying attention, there's and Mike Breen too. Let me not forget, Mike Breen, also a Republican, was up in the front. And I said to them, why don't you guys go up in the front? Just go up in the front. Like I said, they want to do that. But, way to be loyal to the party, guys. I mean, at the very least, I would have said, you know what, if my, party has to walk here with the banner and stuff, then that's where I'm going to walk, because I'm a Republican and I'm a loyal Republican. But, I mean, do we expect anything else from at least Mike Breen? We know by now he's not really a Republican now, is he? So I just wanted to mention that. I thought that was very disloyal of you guys as Republicans, to leave your Republicans who are not so prominent, behind with the banner, God, country, and party, right? Is that what Sorry, did you not hear me? My mic was off. Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't even know how that happened. That one wasn't me. I was reading the article, right? So I was talking about this Lenny. I renamed him. I gave Lenny Spano the nickname LoHud Lenny. He's been in the LoHud paper a lot lately, and I've heard this. You know, they said stuff is going to be coming out, so I'm not sure how much more, but here we go again. So I'll read this. Lenny Spano's rise in Yonkers DPW and secrecy on $60,000 donation in New Rochelle's mayor's race. The influence of the Spano family in Yonkers politics harkens back to 1971 when the family's patriarch Len Spano won a seat on the Westchester County Board of Elections after flipping his enrollment from Democrat to Republican at a time when the GOP ruled the roost in Westchester. Now his son, Mike, the ninth of Len's 16 children, is seeking a fourth term as Yonkers mayor. As a sign of the times, Mike switched from Republican to Democrat in 2007 to keep the shifting political winds at his back. The race for a fourth term has revived concern over the family's hammerlock on political power in the city. And my reporting has delved into his family's commitment to public service and the advantages that come with having your Uncle Mike as mayor. My latest column explored the rise of DPW's Assistant Commissioner Lenny Spano, a grandson of the patriarch, and his uncle's third term. Lenny's father is former state senator Nick Spano, the firstborn Spano child who runs a lucrative lobbying business with a slew of clients with business before the city. Mike Spano's third term as mayor was supposed to be his last, following the extension of term limits in 2019 to let him run for a third four-year term. And I said that was thanks to Mike Sabatino and Mike Breen. So, you know, Breen has been a loyalist, you know, for a while now. But this time around, the fourth term was introduced by Lakeisha Collins Bellamy, the city council president. The column also noted another 5 Spano relatives on the city payroll. But when that term neared an end, the city council did Spano a solid by extending the term limits legislation for another term, giving the mayor the shot for 4 more years. The column also noted another 5 Spano relatives on the city payroll, bringing to 19 to the number of relatives of the mayor that work for the city and its affiliated agencies. Turns out Mike has outdistanced his father, who got into hot water in 1992 when reports surfaced that there were 17 Spano relatives on the county payroll, and a job had been created for one of his sons. The details of Lenny's Spano's rise highlighted the role of Public Works Commissioner Tom Meyer, who has the authority to appoint civil service employees in his department. That Meyer serves as chairman of the Yonkers Democratic City Committee revealed how political patronage remains a force within the city's administration. And look, that's true. Here's a problem for me, right? Here's a problem for me, and it should be a problem for you. Tom Meyer is the chair of the Democratic Committee. Tom Meyer is the commissioner of DPW. He has to pick one or the other. He can't do both. And it's very well known that people who support campaigns, and I played the audio. You guys heard the audio. You heard a DPW employee telling another individual how to get a DPW job, and that's how they do it. It's a fact. I'm not here to create lies and tell stories. No, it's a fact. You campaign, you get a job. You knock on doors, you get a job. Right? I saw my guys at the Puerto Rican Day Parade over there with the shirts on. They weren't there as a cleanup crew. They didn't say DPW. They said Hispanos for Spanos. And they weren't even Hispanic. I saw you. I said, what's up to you guys, right? You saw me toward the end there, right? And so that's what they do. You want to get on, you go campaign. So you as a candidate, say like Margaret Coleman or Corazon, and even Corazon, although she is an elected official, or someone like me who's completely new, right, wants to compete or challenge them, you're not going to be able to outdo this system, right? That's the entire city, the city resources, right? And jobs that you can promise. I can't promise jobs. Margaret can't promise jobs, right? And so that's a disadvantage. A huge disadvantage. And so when you get guys that will go out there and campaign, they will get a job. Right? And that's what you see happening. So, yes, they've leveraged that. And now you have Tom Meyer. He's the Democratic chair. So if you vote for a Democrat, if you support the Democrats' campaigns, Tom Meyer can appoint you to a job. He'll get you a job. He'll appoint you to a promotion, to a raise. And there are many people that get hired during election year, election cycle. We see it. And I can point out the people, right? But I'm not. I don't want to I'm just making the point, right? I'm not trying to get you guys into any issues. Let's just be honest. And so that's a problem. And then you have Tom Meyer Jr. up at the county board of elections. I think that's a huge problem. A super huge problem, don't you? I think that's a problem. And I think the fact that Zahi Jarris can walk up in there after someone else challenged Hector Santiago's petitions is a problem. That Tom Meyer goes in there and represents himself as the assistant commissioner, but he's not. His dad being the chair of the Democratic Party here in the city of Yonkers for how long now? How about the ward leaders? Who are they? Right? That's another problem. See, most people don't understand how it works, right? So you have ward leaders and then you have district leaders. And then the ward leaders, they are in charge of the district leaders. And then the party is in charge of the ward leaders. And so in order for them to control the party, they have to control the ward leaders who control the district leaders, right? And the ward leaders make sure that the district leaders go out into the districts that they are covering to push the message, push the certain agenda, make sure that certain buildings within that area have someone in there. You're going to collect everybody's votes. Come February 28th, boom, they got them all. And so a new candidate doesn't have that control. They don't have that access, that resource. And so it's nearly impossible. This is why term limits are super important and why Lakeisha Collins Bellamy did everyone in the city a disservice, an injustice by extending the term limits without at least truly hearing the people, having town hall meetings. They did not do their very best. They got it passed. Look how quick. But where's the affordable housing ordinance, Lakeisha? You should have made that a priority. That would have shown you to be a legitimate city council president. But we will always remember the first Black woman city council president to be illegitimate. And I'm just being honest. That's a fact. That's a fact. So she went and extended that. And that's a problem when you have ward leaders like Seda Jarris, Frank Jarris, even Tom Meyer, and he's a junior and he's a vice chair as well, Tom Meyer Jr. So they control the party. They control city resources. And that is a huge problem. And they don't want me to talk about it. And so my wife gets attacked. And I get a whole lot of issues, but I still talk about it. The details of Lenny Spano's highlight, I talked about that. Both Mike and Nick Spano say they played no role in Lenny Spano's rise up to the DPW hierarchy, whatever. Here's a problem with that. Who is going to, say anything about Lenny Spano moving up? That's the mayor's brother. That's technically my boss's brother. So then if I don't, then I can have an issue. And that's how a lot of people feel, whether it's real or not. People see them getting promoted. Maybe they felt they shouldn't have been promoted, but hey, who's going to speak up? You? Don't be stupid. You want your job? Of course I do. Shut up. It is what it is. Let's keep it moving. And that's how it's become. It is what it is. They don't dislike the guy. Not a bad guy. It's nothing personal, but, it's just not fair. But it is what it is. We deal with it. We move on. That's it, right? So both Mike and Nick Spano said they played no role in it, yet Meyer's appointment of Lenny to provisional position before civil service exams were held were discretionary acts. So he allowed him to take on the position in a provisional, manner before he actually, but how many people are going to get that opportunity? How many people are going to get the position before they take the test? How many people are you going to do that for, Tom? There's people that are trying to get the job after they took the test, let alone get the job before they take the test. They don't have to even pay for the fee or nothing. Ain't that something? And so who else will you do that for, Tom? Right? And his latest promotion to manager of refuse collection came 14 months ago. There's no exam yet scheduled. So now he's had a position for 14 months without having taken the exam. Right. There was a May surprise in this June's Democratic primary for New Rochelle mayor, which pits New Rochelle City Councilwoman Yadira Ramos Herbert against county legislator Damon Mayer. Ramos Herbert has most of the establishment support, from the New Rochelle Democratic City Committee to Assemblywoman Amy Paulin. Yeah, she's down with them. To U.S. Rep. Jamal Bowman. She also has the support, who I saw at the Puerto Rican Day Parade, by the way, said hello. She also has the support of the Westchester County Democratic Committee, which in mid-May donated $60,000 to Ramos Herbert's cash-starved campaign. At the time, she'd run out of money for the stretch drive, so the unprecedented donation to a local Democratic primary was a godsend to the campaign of the associate dean at Columbia Law School. But who funded the donation? Democratic Committee Chair Suzanne Berger told me that the party committee didn't plan to disclose its donors until after the June 27th primary, with early voting starting on June 17th. She said those were the protocols the committee followed, but my reporting found that the party made such disclosures in 2022. The State Board of Elections handbook says it's required, and voters deserve to know who gave the Westchester Democrats to give to Ramos Herbert. Having the party raise money for Ramos Herbert is way to circumvent contribution limits that donors would have to abide by if they gave directly to her campaign. Of course. An individual or corporation can give up to $1,317 in a primary in New Rochelle. But given to the party opens the floodgates for wealthy individuals or companies looking to curry favors. Individuals can give up to $138,000 to a party committee, and that should change. And this is why I always say they need to take the money out of politics. Lobbying should end. They should not allow lobbying to exist in politics. I mean, if you have any sense, you would know the money is going to corrupt it. Bottom line, everything gets sold. As the saying goes, everything is for sale. Everything is for sale. Tell me one thing that has not been sold in this world. Everything's for sale. And that's the world we live in. Corporations can give up to $5,000, and the party committee can make unlimited contributions. They are called transfers. And if you look at these transfers, I mean, I've looked at some of these. I mean, I've done a lot of research, and I've looked at some of these transfers from one committee to another committee, and it's like money laundering. If I didn't know any better, it was money laundering, right? And I'm talking about, hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars, even from guys here in Westchester. My story posted online Wednesday morning. By noon, Berger said that the party's January 2023 report would most likely be posted by day's end, but still no word on lifting the veil on who gave the money to finance Ramos Herbert's stretch run. Blair Horner, executive director of NYPIRG, and a longtime critic of New York campaign finance laws, said it was time for the Westchester Democrats to disclose their donors. If a party throws its weight around in a primary, the voters deserve to know where the money came from, she said. Those are the rules. They should do it unless they are trying to hide something, which also argues for them to do it. Reach out. I'm blessed to have so many readers with a keen insight, says Reach Out. So I guess they didn't Say who didn't? Maybe I read two articles that I thought. Oh, I read this and thinking that they were gonna say the Lenny Spano donated that. I don't even know why I read that, but I there you go. And Suzanne Berger, listen, these folks are corrupt. Unfortunately, it's the truth. Unfortunately, politics here in Yonkers and Westchester is very corrupt. There's a lot of money involved. I mean, there's a lot of people that are just making a lot of money off it in these positions. For many of them, that's the only way to generate an income. And so if they're not doing it, how will they sustain their lifestyle? I mean, some of them have, they like the way they live. They like going to these galas, they like, feeling important. They like, having whatever perks and benefits come with these positions. So they're not going to give it up, and they're going to do what they need to do to keep these positions. And they do that by raising money. Money is what is important, right? That's what everybody says, money, money, money. And so who donates, who contributes, who gives the money, right? You have corporations, business people, everyone but the people they're supposed to represent pretty much. And so they donate all this money. They want to keep this money coming, money from like the developers, like we see here in Yonkers. And that's what they care about. That's all Shanae ever cared about. Shanae did not care about Shanae had one of the hottest districts. I mean, I'm sure Zahi made a lot of money with Shanae. A lot of money. She had the hottest district. That's where a lot of the developments were going up. Look, there's money in making sure that zoning changes are done. There's money or, perks and benefits in assuring that, you extend the term limits, right? That's absolutely. These are things that are not done for no other logical reason other than to benefit financially or to benefit through a patronage job, to benefit, for family members or to benefit for, another position. That's why they have done a lot of these things that they've done. Tasha Diaz, why does she flip-flop on that housing? Because there's no way that she was going to truly support 20% and impact her donors. These are Zahi Jeris's people. So you have to understand how much Zahi Jeris has an impact on our politics. Again, to the people that are upset with a lot of developments, that are, upset with the developments going up in front of their buildings, that are upset with the zoning changes that are happening. People over on Carroll, people on Woodworth, right? People on Scarsdale Road over there. A lot of people have complained, and you have to understand that why they're doing this. You go up in front of them and, and I say that the people, you have this, the speech that you want to tell them, but that's all fine and dandy, but that's not going to do anything. What you have to do is expose the reason why it's happening, right? That's what you have to do. You have to understand why they're going to continue to move forward with that zoning change, regardless whether or not you want it, why they're going to move forward with that development in front of your house, whether or not you want it, right? You have to understand why. Why is it that they extended the terms, whether or not the people wanted it? You have to understand why it's going to continue to be that way. Right. So we can't go there and you can't say, the people need this, the people need, you have to say, no, we have to get this guy Zahi Jeris out of our politics. We have to make sure that the politicians, the elected officials that are represented by him, that are funded by him, that are managed by him, the Tasha Diaz's, the Shanae Williams, are out of politics. We have to, the Lakeisha Collins Bellamy, and this is no disrespect to any of them. So when we see you, when I'm around you, because I know I go in public, you don't need to get your minions on me. Alberto, you don't need to keep saying nothing to me. At this point, I'm wondering, do you want to fight me or something? Because every time you see me, you say something, immature, ignorant. And so, you don't have to do that. I'm telling you this because this is a fact, and this is important for the people to know, right? It's no disrespect. But Lakeisha Collins Bellamy, if you can come and articulate on my show, or even you don't have to come on my show, you can do it on your own page or on the city's page and articulate exactly why you decided to extend the term limits all on your own, right? Can you articulate how does that benefit the people? How? How exactly does that benefit the people? And Tasha Diaz, as the city council majority leader, can you come and articulate why is it that you decided not to, vote yes to override the mayor's veto on the affordable housing ordinance? And can you all come and articulate why is it that you yet to produce an affordable housing ordinance that benefits the people that need affordable housing, because the affordable housing ordinance is not supposed to be created to benefit the developers. And so when they look so much to focus on how is it benefiting the developers, or we don't want to, do too much to the developers, then you're defeating the purpose. I mean, that's not for the developers. The housing ordinance was to help those who need affordable housing, to create a plan that can benefit those who need affordable housing, to address a need, to address a crisis that we have. It's not to help the developers. So when you factor the developers in your decision to do this, or whatever you think about this housing ordinance, you're doing a disservice to the people who need affordable housing, the people that most of you represent. And that's not okay. And none of you have not articulated it. You guys run away from it. You ignore it. You simply just, you go off and have these rants, and you talk about grandstanding, but you all have grandstanded at some point, have made excuses, have, turned everything into your personal, response or revenge, or get back or clap back at people that have said things to you guys about the way you are as politicians, rather than focus on the issues. Explain to the people why you have let us down. Don't clap back at us. That's not how you respond. That's not professional. And that's not how a government should operate. And, we should all be ashamed. We should truly all be ashamed. As people, minorities, we should be ashamed that we're represented that way, because we want to be looked at in a much better light, right? We don't want to be looked at as ghetto because Tasha Diaz, the majority leader, is Black and she's calling people beggars, right? We don't want to be looked at as, ratchet, uneducated people, right? Who, if you get voted in, are going to be ghetto and going to be yelling, because there's people out there that generalize, right? So we don't want to be represented like that. And that should be an embarrassment to us. And as all people of Yonkers, we should be embarrassed that a government is acting that way. And I spoke to somebody that's from the city that has recently moved to Yonkers, may not very recently, but within, 2 years, who said, I've never seen nothing like this. And I've been to council meetings, in other places, and I've never seen nothing like that. And I said, I know. It's embarrassing. It's amazing how this continues, and they continue to get voted in. Think about why. Think about why these people continue to get reelected. Do you really think it's because they're such great elected officials? Think about it. People are not voting for them because they are great elected officials. There is scams going on in our elections. And it starts from the petition season right up to the general election. They cheat these elections. And this is why I say with Tom Meyer and being the Democratic chair, it's a problem with his son being up at the Westchester County Board of Elections. Folks, if you don't believe me when I say they scammed the elections, they got the Board of Elections, people in their pockets, and they know how to ballot harvest. They steal elections, folks. That's a fact. It's a fact. This is not Donald Trump stuff. This is a fact. The developers are the ones who donate, not the people. They are supposed to help. Absolutely. And so they will never represent the people as long as they want to continue succeeding in politics, right? Their focus is going to be like Shanae Williams. She didn't do nothing as a councilwoman, right? She pretty much, they, held her hand all the way through. They're going to hold her hand all the way up to the county because Zahi Jeris has a control on the Board of Elections and the polling sites. And that's the huge problem. And there needs to be federal oversight on this year's election. If not, then, there's going to be a lot of cheating going on. It's a lot of cheating, a lot of disgusting stuff going on. So, so that's my only issue. Like, folks, it's just open your eyes, just pay attention to the people, to these elected officials, listen to what they say. They speak out of both sides of their mouth. They're not for the people. And so when we go to a vote this year, you know, again, we have to vote for change. We have to vote them out. It's nothing personal. I don't want them getting up there at a meeting, start clap backing and all that stuff, you know, and doing all that. And listen, you know, I may have said this when the mic was off, you know, Brian Harrod, Rue Ross, they're going to continue talking about my wife. I'm not going to say nothing to those guys. I'm not going back and forth with those two. But what I am going to do is put your business out there that everybody talked about to me. All right. And so you better speak to them because you guys pay them. You pay them. You, the elected officials, pay Rue Ross. Okay. You guys pay Brian Harrod through Rue Ross to do just that. And it's not just to say anything to come at Freddie Vasquez. You guys have been doing that for years. For years. Having those people attack other people, anyone that has spoken out against you. And now your time has come. Your time has come. I can promise you that. Do what you think you got to do. Do what you think you got to do. Because the information I put, you know, is true. You know it's true. And I know it's true. And everybody that knows. That's why they say I'm 98% correct. I'm Freddie Vasquez, Basement Politics Unfiltered. Control your losers. Control your little weasel dirt bags. I don't like my wife. That does trigger me. Call me, you know, whatever you want. They say, Freddie, don't let it get on, you know, don't let it. Listen, that's my wife, and I don't play with the disrespect. I'm from the streets, right? That means that when you do shit like that, we will knock your teeth out. That's what we do. We don't call the cops. We don't do none of that. And since I can't knock this man's teeth out because at this point, that's what I want to do because enough is enough. The people that support this guy, the people that fund this guy, you're going to be the ones that are going to get it. And yeah, he could put this on and whatever, because I know they're watching. I know you're watching. This is why I'm telling you. This is what I'm telling you. Respect the wife. You can say all you want, and I'll ignore this guy. I don't care about me. I don't care. But I'm tired of the wife thing. That's disrespect. You guys already did some shit that, honestly, I would have never let fly if I didn't know you would be sending the police to my house. Trust me. You're lucky for that. And so you could talk that shit, be hiding behind your page, right? Or talk that shit because you know you'll call the cops. That's cool. But as a result, everyone else that is your peoples, that pay you and all that, they got to deal with it. So more you do, the more I do. Say what you want. It is what it is. Have a great night. It's Unfiltered, where truth lives and corruption dies. Have some respect, leave the wise out of it. Because at the end of the day, I know that the man is doing it because of you folks, because of you, Zahi. And whoever else is a part of you guys. So at the end of the day, that's who I'm going to speak about, because the people want to know about you, Zahi, and Seda, and Irwin. And by the way, Irwin, when will your wife apologize to me publicly for calling CPS falsely? I'm not going to stop till I get a public apology. Because if she wanted to do that publicly, well, now she's going to have to publicly apologize, right? You call CPS falsely, that's what you do? And I know your wife don't work in the city clerk's office anymore, right? Why not? ¿Qué pasó? ¿Qué pasó? No sea maricón. Listen, I'm street, and now I'm fucking people with my wife, fuck with.
You're watching Basement Politics with my dad, Freddie Vasquez.
I want a public apology, Seda. If you're going to defame me publicly, you have to apologize publicly.
Game over.
No!